So tell me, how do humans actually communicate? Well, for two humans to have a proper communication, they need to know a common language, isn't it? Now, people speak infinitely many languages. You've got English, French, Hindi, Telugu, and so on. Now, so let's say if I speak Hindi, it is a necessity that the other person to whom I'm speaking, he also knows Hindi. And that is when we can have a proper conversation. And this is the necessity of communication. Now, when it comes to language, a language needs to have a set of grammar rules associated with it. So, as you can see on the screen over here, right? So, let's say if I make a statement such as I am Sam, then it makes proper sense. But on the other hand, if I say something like am Sam I, then it doesn't make any sense at all. So, what I'm trying to tell you guys is for two people to have a proper communication or for two people to understand each other, they need to follow a set of grammatical rules and only then they'll be able to properly understand each other. So, that is how humans communicate. Now, we've got a lot of machines around us, and let's say we want to communicate with a machine, or let's say I want to communicate with a computer actually. Then we would also require a language to communicate with all of these computers. And that is when we have all of these languages coming up, such as Java, Python, C, R, and so on. So, as a normal human language has some sort of grammatical rules associated with it, similarly, a programming language would also have certain grammatical rules associated with it. And these grammatical rules are known as syntax. So, let's say this statement which you see over here, this is a syntax in Python. Now, if you write something as import pandas as PD, this is syntactically correct and the compiler of the language would be able to properly execute it. But on the other hand, if you write something as pandas import PD as, then this is totally incorrect. So for a programming compiler to properly understand that particular line, you have to write the syntax correctly and only then the compiler will execute your code. So this is the necessity of learning proper syntax when it comes to a computer language. So now that we have understood how can we actually communicate with a computer, let's understand the need of programming. So let's say I ask you guys a simple question again. So guys, tell me, what is 2 into 2? So it's very simple, isn't it? 2 into 2 is 4. Now I'll go ahead and complicate this a bit. So tell me, what is 20 into 20? So 20 into 20 is 400. Now again, this is simple for you. Now I'll complicate this even more. So tell me, what is 12,345 multiplied with 6,789? Now, this would be quite difficult for you, wouldn't it? So this is where we would need the help of a machine or a computer so that we can solve these sort of problems very quickly. So let's say if you have a calculator with you or if you have a computer with you, all you have to do is type in these two numbers and just put in the multiplication sign in between these two numbers and tada, you'll easily get the result. So this is the need of computer programming which I'm talking about. Now, what happens in the background of the computer or at the background of the calculator is someone would have written a software and this piece of software is nothing but a programming code. So with the help of this programming code, you are able to solve real world problems. And that is why we need programming in our lives. Now, let's actually look at some real world applications of programming languages. So programming languages are widely used in the gaming industry. So let's say you're playing any of your favorite games. So whether it is FIFA or it's SmackDown or maybe it's Project IGI. So let's take the example of FIFA over here. So let's say you pass the ball to your teammate, but then again, the computer system against whom you're playing, he immediately comes and he attacks you. So how does this happen? Now this happens because there is actually a programming language which controls all of your opponent's players. So whenever you try to pass it, so what happens is all of the opponent's players are coded in such a way that they will try to steal the ball from you, right? So all of this is again an example of programming. Now let's head on to the banking sector. So we've got infinitely many applications of programming language in the banking sector. So let's take the example of internet banking over here. Now, if you want to transfer money to your mother or your father, all you have to do is log into your account and click on fund transfer and you're easily able to transfer your money. Or let's say if you want to pay your credit card bills, all you have to do is go to the credit card section and then click on pay amount, right? So again, how is this possible? Well, it is programming languages. So the backend of the website, there is actually a programming language which controls all of these transactions. Now, programming languages are also a vital part of machine learning applications. So, let's say if you want to predict whether a stock market rises or it falls down, you can also understand what is the sentiment of a customer. And when it comes to machine learning, you can even actually cure a disease. So, there are again infinitely many applications of machine learning. And to apply all of these machine learning algorithms, you would require a programming language. So, most commonly used languages for machine learning applications would be Python, R, Julia, and Java. So for this particular course, especially, we'll be working with